I'm Ray Pardini Matson, and this is the Coffee Monday podcast. Here, we talk about all the things, the messy, the meaningful, and everything in between that fuels your week. I sit down with people who are figuring it out, leveling it up, and keeping it real all along the way. All right, friends, let's pour into it. Dr. Russel Statham, from the CEO of Girl Scouts of Central California South. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Ray.
Such a treat. No pun intended. Truly. Like, we've gotten to know each other better, over the last few years. And I really loved learning more about the Girl Scouts mission. And I'm so excited to share that with our listeners. So thank you for being here. I was a Girl Scout as a young girl, and I'm hoping to gift that to my girls too. Mm-hmm. So I hope that if nothing else, this episode educates people in more about the Girl Scouts mission, the work that you're doing during cookie season, which we'll talk about, and all year round, and what it takes to potentially get involved. So thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
Especially in the midst of cookie season.
Yeah, it's the busiest time of year, and I think the best time of year too.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, so starting it off, I'm just going to, come out with it. What is your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
So I'm kind of biased, but I'm old school. So I love the peanut butter sandwiches. It's kind of like a Nutter Butter type taste.
Yes.
And I love that. So yeah,
So
always
good.
been. And that's one of our core varieties. So we always have that cookie. And that's my favorite. Yeah.
It's so good.
Yep.
Do you pair it with milk or coffee or hot cocoa or anything fun?
I feel like it pairs with anything, to
right?
be honest.
Right?
That's one of the reasons that I like it. So yeah, coffee is good. Sometimes milk, even plain. Yeah, it's good like that too.
So good. Yeah. So Girl Scouts of Central California South. So Girl Scouts obviously is an internationally recognized brand, but each area of our nation has what you call councils, right?
Correct.
So different areas and regions that you serve.
Yeah.
So tell us about the area in which you serve, Girl Scouts of Central California South. What regions are those?
Yeah. So like you said, Girl Scouts has actually one of the top 10 globally recognized brands, right? Like, it's incredible. Now, the challenge is people know us generally for one thing, which is cookies, right? But we're so much more than that. And I'm excited to share a little bit about that with you today. Locally, our council runs programs throughout 5 counties. So we serve Fresno, Madera, Kern, Kings, and Tulare counties. We serve thousands of girls throughout the Central Valley, and we're supported by about 3,000 volunteers. And those volunteers really are critical to our ability to serve our girls, right? You mentioned you're interested in becoming a volunteer and serving, with your daughter and getting your daughter involved in Girl Scouts.
Yeah.
And those volunteers are so critical to what we do because they're the ones that really bring our mission to life. So that's one of the things we'd love to get the word out about, is the need to have more volunteers to support our girls here in the Central Valley.
So let me get this straight. You said, and I'm looking at my numbers too, so tell me if these facts are true. You serve nearly 9,000 girls across the counties in which the council represents,
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
And you have 3,000 volunteers.
Right.
So clearly there's a big disconnect there.
Yeah.
And you said, and you've shared with me before, there's many girls that are waiting to be sort of, what's the proper term? Designated to a troop, but in order for them to have a troop, they need to have a volunteer troop leader, correct?
Yep, that's correct. Yeah. So we have at any given time, sometimes as many as hundreds of girls that are on a wait list, right? Wanting to get into Girl Scouts, wanting to participate and have a troop. But ultimately, those volunteers are sort of the bottleneck that we often have, right? Because finding adults that are willing to be mentors for our girls, to help guide them through the process and to really be that supportive adult, that is really critical to how we deliver our programs. So, it's a labor of love, right? Just like with many other youth activities, sports, etc. There's so much that our volunteers pour into the hearts of what they do to support our girls.
Of course. And we've touched on this too, and I would love for you to share more about just the power of mentorship. That is so important. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions or things that I've learned about getting more acquainted with the mission is you don't have to be a parent to be a troop leader.
Right.
Right? You could be a friend, you could be an auntie, you could be an uncle, you could be a grandparent or a retired educator. Like, the list goes on.
Yeah. We
And
actually have a campaign that we started that I love as a male in Girl Scouts, right?
yes,
A
yes.
couple of years ago. It's called Man Enough to be a Girl Scout. And
I
we actually
love
have a
that.
lot of men that step up
Hmm.
to be mentors and role models for girls. And so we have dads, we have moms, we have grandparents, we have people that are just in the community that just say, "Hey, I want to invest in youth." So it's really all over the board.
Hmm.
But anyone, any individual, any adult that has a passion for giving back, that wants to empower the next generation of youth, we'd love to talk with them, right? We provide all of the training, we do background checks, all of the safety things to equip them
Hmm.
to be ready to lead in that
I think that's
capacity.
really important to reiterate is all of us as parents of young children are pulled in 1,000 directions, right?
Hmm.
And there's so many opportunities for activities. And a lot of the people that are coaching or leading those activities are volunteers.
Right.
But what is really, I think, comforting from a perspective of a parent is Girl Scouts does all that heavy lifting for you. You have those safety procedures in place, you have the training in place, and all the
Hmm.
things to be able to equip these volunteers with, making the most of their experience for themselves, but also their troop, right?
Right. Right. We have a program. It's called Safety Activity Checkpoints, and it's existed probably for the last 50 to 70 years, and it's updated every year, and it goes through every kind of possible activity you can think of, and talks about the safety assessments, how we protect girls, the considerations that we need to have. And so
Mm-hmm.
safety has been really a cornerstone of our program since our very beginning, and it's one of the reasons that we have such a strong safety record, because we really believe in creating safe opportunities for girls to test their boundaries and experience new things in a
Mm-hmm.
really age appropriate way. And all of that comes down to how we do planning for risk to be able to protect our girls
Love
and
that.
our volunteers.
Love that. It's just so comforting, again, as a
Hmm.
parent or those that are considering the program.
Yeah.
So, talk to me about the age range of the girls that are in Girl Scouts,
Hmm.
and then the different sort of names of which are associated with those age ranges. And this is for
Yeah.
somebody who, yeah, I've heard of Girl Scouts, to your point, one of the most recognized brand names out there, but don't know enough about, ages or when the girls can get
Sure.
involved.
Yeah, so girls can get involved as young as kindergarten, actually, technically going into the year before,
The
depending on their
TK or
age,
whatever. Yeah.
TK. Yeah.
Okay.
And so that's going to be our Daisy Girl Scouts.
Mm-hmm.
Daisy was actually the sort of nickname of our founder, and so that's
Sweet.
labeled as our youngest sort of level. And then it goes all the way through seniors in high school. And so we have girls that complete their Gold Award, which is our highest award in Girl Scouts, as seniors in high school, then go on to be Girl Scout alum. So one of the things that we tell people is once a Girl Scout, always a Girl Scout. So if you were ever a Girl Scout, right, if you were a Daisy, a
Mm-hmm.
Brownie, a junior, cadet, senior, or ambassador, all of those levels, you're considered an alum. And so one of the things that we also want to do is get more of our alum giving back and connected back into the Girl Scout community, to pay it forward for that next generation too. So we really see Girl Scouting as a continuum, starting as early as 5 years old and really going until that person passes away. We want to stay connected with
It's
them in
sort
Girl
of, yeah.
Scouts.
And that's what I love so much about the mission is it's a lifelong, sort of connection
Right.
with others in the community and the mission as a whole and the brand,
Yeah.
of course, but it's teaching these girls skills that can really help them
Mhm.
throughout their life at any age.
Yeah.
So, before we dive into sort of the pillars of Girl Scouts, because I do want to expand on that,
Hmm.
can you, and this is again, I'm learning a lot as we've, become more familiar and as we've worked together. What talk more about the girl led philosophy,
Sure. Yeah.
because I didn't really fully realize that, to be honest
Yeah.
with you, and I think it's really cool.
It's one of the things I think that I'm most proud
Yeah.
about our sort of organizational model and how we
Mm-hmm.
deliver programs. So we are completely girl led, and what that means is that girls actually plan and decide what they want to do in Girl Scouts. So we have some girls that are really interested, for example, in adventure. They're part of our Trailblazers Club, where they are going out and they're actually learning to backpack and they're learning to camp and do really adventurous things, right, in the outdoors. We have some girls that are really interested in robotics. We have a number of Girl Scout robotics teams that compete locally, statewide, and nationally. And then we have girls that are interested in things like travel. For example, back in 2008, it was my first year as CEO. I actually led a group of our Girl Scouts through what's called a Girl Scout destination, and we actually took them to South Africa. We went on a safari. We experienced, hiking in incredible areas. We got to see Nelson Mandela's house and home and understand the history of the Soweto uprising and all of these things. And that's what's possible in Girl Scouts, right? So these girls said, hey, we're interested in studying and learning about South African history. And they actually planned this trip. We as adults facilitate it, but that's a great example of it truly being girl-led, right? The girls get to decide not just where they're going, but what types of activities we're going to do, who they want to visit and connect with, all of those things, so that they're creating their own experience.
I love that.
And I think that's one of the things that really separates us from so many other youth programs, right? We know from our research, we have a Girl Scout Research Institute that talks a lot about how girls develop and thrive and grow in these environments. And we know that girl-only environment where girls take the lead really has an impact on their ability to develop leadership.
That, but also confidence.
Exactly. Yeah.
I would think, right?
Right.
If you're really passionate, like we've talked about other troops, like passionate about like animals, for example.
Right.
And you mentioned all the examples.
Yeah.
And they have this idea. And then they lead with this idea. And then they execute with this idea. Like that just is so powerful in building, obviously, leadership skills and all the things that you're hoping for, STEM and sort of diversified ways of thinking and creativity and outdoors and all of those values, but also confidence in a child, which is so, so important, especially for girls.
Right.
I love that. For what's realistically for those that are interested in either becoming a troop leader or some sort of being involved in the organization as a whole, what's the time commitment? Like how often do troops typically meet, or what is the time commitment of that for a troop leader if they're interested?
Yeah, so I would say it depends on what role you're interested in, because we have a lot of different roles for adults. So, we really try to meet people where they are. Generally speaking, troops meet, I would say on average, maybe every other week or once a month, but it really is dependent on what the girls are interested in. Because again, it's girl-led. So they may say, hey, we want to meet every week. More time, obviously, involved in that type of a situation.
Right.
Once the volunteer indicates they're interested, we provide background checks and go through and do all of that sort of thing from a safety standpoint. We have a series of different training opportunities that we work with people on. And that process, I would say, generally takes from beginning to end probably about a month to a month and a half to get trained and get onboarded and background checked and all of that sort of thing. And then one of the things that we do is we provide what we call troop support, where we actually will go out the first few meetings and help to facilitate it with the volunteer. Because we know, if you've never done this before, it can feel a little intimidating, right? So we're there to help you on your first few sets of troop meetings. We have staff that are there to assist you with any questions that arise, but really try to make it as easy as possible, knowing that it is a commitment, right? That you're making as a volunteer. We want to support you through that process.
I also love how it's not just an activity like a season of sports, for example,
right?
Where like we're in basketball right now, so it's like a 5-week season, every Saturday for 5 weeks, and then you're done. I love that Girl Scouts is a year-round, all the time, life skills building thing that you can do with your girls, because that's so important.
Right.
So important.
Yeah, and I think, there's so many different seasons, right, in a girl's life. And one of the things that we know from our research at the Girl Scout Research Institute is, when girls hit the adolescence age and they start, hitting age around 13 and so forth, things get a lot harder in school. It gets a lot harder in social environments. And one of the things that they talk about is that having that girl-only space provides them with that sense of psychological safety to develop sort of those relationships so that when life gets hard in these other areas, they have that support. And one of the things that we actually track with that is we look at girls' self-esteem basically using survey instruments. And we study them, girls that participate in Girl Scouts and those that don't. And when they hit that age range, around age 13, self-esteem tends to go down. With Girl Scouts, it actually goes back up. And that's one of the things that's so powerful. We talk to our school partners because that is a really hard time in young girls' lives, right? And so Girl Scouts is sort of the antidote for that as well.
I love that.
Yeah.
Today's episode is brought to you by Buddy's Citrus. And if you know me, you know this one is truly a staple in our house. My daughter Liv is obsessed with mandarins, specifically Buddy's Citrus. It's her go-to snack for snack time. She packs it in her lunch. And honestly, they're perfect to toss in a bag for like post-game recovery snacks after kids' soccer games or gymnastics or all the fun activities that your kiddos are into. Buddy's Easy Peel mandarins are California grown right here in the San Joaquin Valley. And they're perfectly sweet, refreshing, and actually very easy for little hands to peel, which is fun. Definitely kid approved. I know the second Liv was able to peel it herself, she just felt like it was a really big win. So it's really sweet. And super important, they're also seedless, which is great for the littles, and grown by a family-owned, family-run operation that genuinely cares about the quality from tree to table, which makes me as a parent feel even more comforted, keeping them stocked on my counter, obviously in my beautiful bowl here on Coffee Monday, and sometimes we put them in the fridge to get them extra cold. If you're looking for a fresh, feel-good snack that's local, delicious, and fits real life with kiddos, Buddy's mandarins are definitely it. So grab some next time you're shopping or learn more at buddyscitrus.com. Well, the other thing too with the troops is all the kids aren't at the same school necessarily, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Which I kind of love that too, because we all have our way of sort of like being in our bubble and just going through the motions and seeing all the same people at the school.
Yeah.
But to be able to sort of like broaden your social circle and learn about different girls at different schools and different backgrounds and even sometimes different grades, depending on how their age falls for the troop, is really special.
Yeah. And we have activities where we actually will bring multiple troops together. So one example of that is coming up, and it's called World Thinking Day. So World Thinking Day is basically a celebration of women and girls throughout the world. And so our troops come together, they have booths, and they actually will present to the other troops and girls about what life is like as a girl or as a woman in different countries. And it's an opportunity for us to really reflect on sort of how women have grown and faced different challenges throughout the world and what work there is left to do to really continue to improve that for women and girls.
I love that. Well, and you touched on too, I love the campaign Man Enough to be a Girl Scout. I love that. So you don't obviously, again, have to be a female to be involved as a volunteer. Let's call it what it is, Russell. You've been the CEO of Girl Scouts of Central California South now for how many years?
It's been 8. Yeah, 8 years.
As a male in a female-dominated organization, right? Tell me what drew you to the organization and this role, and you've done such incredible work with the organization, and they're so lucky to have you. So I'd love to hear how you got here.
Yeah. So for me, our mission is really personal. And, I love to tell people, if it wasn't for 3 women, I wouldn't be in leadership, right? They sort of picked me from leadership obscurian, if you will. I didn't see myself as a leader, right? And there were 3 women in my life that were bosses and mentors that really encouraged me, that got me to think and see myself as a leader. And without them, I can tell you, I would not be in this role, right? And so my own lived experience, having that support, having that incredible mentorship from women showed me and created a passion in me that we need far more women in leadership, right? And I recognize that's funny coming from me as a male, right?
Do you get that though? Socially, they're like, oh.
Yeah. But I'm really passionate about that.
Clearly. And anybody that knows you and has met with you, even for 2 minutes, can feel that, you know? And the work that the growth and the just impactful work that you've done in the time that you've been there. It
Yeah.
speaks volumes. So,
And it's, it's an honor, and it's something that I take very seriously,
mm-hmm.
because I know, girls look to me as an example,
Of
and I
course.
want to serve as a positive male role model, right? We have so many examples in society, I think, of men that are not fulfilling that role and really
Mm-hmm.
showcasing what it can be when you support everyone, women and girls, and really are their champion. And so I take that role really seriously.
Mm-hmm.
It's also truly a blessing. Like, I, have had so many opportunities to get to know young women who have grown incredibly through our program. Right? We have one girl. She's a young woman in her career now. She's an engineer in Bakersfield, and she was a Gold Award Girl Scout. She worked
Mm-hmm.
on her project as a Gold Award Girl Scout around creating an app to track insulin for children, because she had a sibling that had type
Diabetes.
diabetes,
Yeah.
and she realized that the technology that existed is really for adults. They don't have systems to track insulin for
Wow.
children, so she actually created her project around that. And that's just one example of
Mm-hmm.
a girl that I got to know at a very young age. She's very shy, right? When she started Girl
Mm-hmm.
Scouts, found her voice, developed this app in collaboration with Valley Children's, and she's now an engineer in her
I have the
career.
chills.
So
That's amazing.
amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. And you
Amazing.
wouldn't, to your point, you probably wouldn't have been connected with her otherwise,
Right.
right?
Exactly.
Wow, that
Yeah.
is unreal.
Yeah.
So the talk about the gold awards too,
Yeah.
because and sort of the platform of earning their patches to be able to get
Mm-hmm.
to. So
Yeah.
explain that.
Yeah. So the gold award, so we have what are called highest awards.
Mm-hmm.
So it goes bronze, silver, and then gold, and
Mm-hmm.
they're building on their age. So at a younger age, they can start their bronze award all the way through senior in high school, completing their gold award.
Mm-hmm.
And those projects really are designed to get girls to think about an issue in their community that they want to tackle and address.
Mm-hmm.
And as they progress through those awards, they have to create sustainable solutions. So the Gold Award really requires girls to think critically about a particular problem, find solutions, bring the community in, and create a sustainable solution. And that sustainability is really important. So the project
Mm-hmm.
has to continue even after the girl completes it. And so we have
Which is
it
amazing.
really is. I tell people, I have a doctorate and a master's, and I tell people, like, what our
Yes.
girls go through to get their gold award is very
I was
similar,
literally
right, to
thinking
grad
that, like
school.
on top of
Yeah,
everything else that they have going on at
it's pretty
school,
amazing.
right? That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. It really is. It really
Yeah.
is.
Wow. So we touched on this earlier, but I think this is a good time to circle back on Girl Scouts is so much more than cookies. And even though we are in the midst of cookie season and it's fun to talk about all the things, which we will get to, I just feel so passionately about there's so much more.
Yeah.
Life skills and diversity that the program and the organization brings to these girls outside of just that. So can you touch on the pillars a little bit
Yeah.
to really sort of bring that home for those that might not know?
Yeah.
Because to your point, when you hear Girl Scouts,
you hear cookies.
You hear cookies.
Yep, exactly.
And it's so much more than that.
Yeah, it really is. So we have programs really in 4 different areas. I'll start with our entrepreneurship pillar. We call them pillars, and so there are 4 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Our entrepreneurship pillar is best known for our cookie program, right? So people see us selling cookies, and that ultimately is a fundraiser. But really what it's about is teaching girls how to run a business. So as young as a daisy, right, a kindergartner, all the way through high school, we're teaching age-appropriate skills about running a business, whether that's marketing, whether that's inventory management, people skills, decision-making, etc. So that program was created really to create entrepreneurs and to teach girls that. And we know how powerful and successful it is because half of women that are CEOs today were Girl Scout alum, and they talk about the impact of the cookie program, right?
That's wild. I
An,
mean, think about that.
It really
That's
is.
amazing.
Yeah. Like a significant number of Fortune 500 CEOs that are women credit Girl Scouts to getting their edge, right? So that's our first pillar, entrepreneurship, all aligned around our cookie program and really how that works. Then we have our outdoor pillar, and I would say that's something that has been long strong tradition in Girl Scouts. So we teach girls age appropriate outdoor skills, everything from maybe a Daisy's first hike right down at the river, maybe, for example,
Yes.
to learning backpacking as a senior in high school, right, and everything in between, and it's all age appropriate. So that's our outdoor pillars. Then we have life skills. So we teach everything from like healthy boundaries and sort of life lessons to getting involved in your local city government, to making your voice heard, right, on issues that matter to you.
Wow.
And then our final pillar is STEM. So we teach science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We have robotics programs. We have, think like an engineer patch programs, just all sorts of different innovative programs in that space as well.
That's so great.
And so depending on what you're interested in, right, as a girl, if you're coming into Girl Scouts, you have sort of this menu that you can pick from. And really, it's all based on what their interests are.
Literally a menu.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing, too, I think is important to note is obviously we value education. You have experienced very prominent degrees in higher
Probably
ed.
too much. I tell people, right, my doctorate at $5 will buy you a cup of coffee. The problem is it won't anymore, right? Inflation.
Yeah, I was going to say, what coffee are you getting for $5?
Exactly.
Please tell me where.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But I do think there's something to be said about hands-on experience.
Right.
Coming from somebody who like majored in economics and worked in entertainment publicity, it's like those don't go hand in hand because I don't know. I feel very passionately about the hands-on experience in these things. And these are the things that are sort of stemming from like the basics they're learning in school.
Right.
And furthering. They're just, it's just amazing.
And that learn by doing model is one of our tenets too, right? Our programs are very hands-on because we know that girls experiencing the thing is what really leads to learning, right? As opposed to just sort of talking about it and observing it.
Okay, so you mentioned entrepreneurship as it relates to cookie season and sort of building out a business. Makes total sense. How are the girls super involved with like the logistics of? Wow.
Very much so.
I'm impressed by that.
Very much so.
I don't remember. I was young when I did it. So, okay.
So this weekend, actually, when we're recording the podcast, it's early, January right now. This coming weekend is when we actually deliver the cookies. And so girls will, start to actually sell them. And it gets basically distributed down through service units and troops to the individual girls. And they're going to be involved in really everything, right? Deciding where to booth, publishing, their internet storefronts, going door to door, coming up with their marketing plans. All of those are decisions that individual girls will be making.
Which is so great.
Yeah.
So, cookie season is here. Ready or not, by the time you're listening to this, you probably will have seen some booths around town.
Yep.
How, for those that are looking to find Girl Scout cookies, where should they go?
Yeah. So we try to make it easy.
Yes.
Technology, of course, has really improved lots of these processes. So if you go to our website, girlscoutccs.org, and you click on cookies, there's basically a cookie finder. So you'll put in your zip code, and it'll actually show you, based on that zip code, where we have scheduled booths. So girls and troops go in and they actually reserve, and they say, okay, I'm going to be out in front of, Save Mart on this date, or Walmart on this date. Dutch Bros, exactly. And then they can put that in online, and then you can go and find them that way.
Love that.
You can also, if you go to that website or girlscoutscookies.org, when you punch in your zip code, you can also order online. So let's say you don't have time, right, to go, find a troop. You can order online. You can either do girl delivered, or you can do where the girl will bring them to you. And girls get to, set sort of their safety parameters around that. Some girls are comfortable doing that. Some some are not. Or you can order for delivery online and we'll ship them to you as well. And all of our favorite cookies are available through that e-commerce platform. And those are all directly tied to individual girl sales.
We've got a sunny little morning update from our go-to coffee spot, Dutch Bros. They dropped their brand new breakfast-inspired drinks, and let me tell you, they sound warm and delicious. It's like your morning routine, but even better. First, we have the maple waffle latte, which is cozy, comforting, and so delish. It's made with salted caramel, cinnamon, white chocolate, finished with soft top caramel drizzle and sugar sprinkles. It tastes like breakfast in a cup, and you can get it iced. You can get it as a protein latte, which I know a lot of my friends are doing these days, and super cool because you can get your protein with your coffee. You can do it as a freezed or even an iced chai. Then there's the banana bread mocha with soft top, sweet banana, hazelnut, and rich mocha that feels like a treat but still gets you going in the morning. And if you're more of an energy drink person, they have the smooth strawberry Rebel, which blends strawberry and banana with the Rebel energy drink and sweet cream. Or you could grab it as a lemonade, and it's a really great non-caffeinated option as well. These are available now at all Dutch Bros locations, but only while supplies last. So sip on the sunny side and start your day off right, and make sure to follow along on their Instagram at Dutch Bros Fresno to get more information and deets on where you can find those. Talk about getting with the times. I mean, that is impressive.
Yeah.
Because, not only to locate a booth near you, but to be able to serve a certain troop if you'd like, and then have them potentially deliver. Like, wow, that's amazing.
It's incredible, Ray, how much the technology has evolved just since. So I've been, with the council for 8 years. And in those 8 years, we've been able to innovate so much around digital sales and digital programs. And part of it was our girls had to, right? We experienced a global pandemic and we couldn't be in front of stores, right?
That was a wild time.
Yeah. So you talk about like innovation, and so much of what we've done, it's been ideas from girls, right? So they come forward and they say, hey, right, we needed girl delivered technology. Like, how do we do this? And then our tech teams, work with them behind the scenes. But ultimately that innovation is driven by girls.
Totally.
There was actually a girl, it's sort of a sad story, but I think it's an example of how our girls give back, right? So there was a girl in another council, our San Gorgonio Council, which is up by Riverside, that area in California.
Okay.
And she actually had cancer. And so one of the things that she wanted to do was she wanted to support other girls that had cancer in Girl Scouts. And so she actually donated and raised funds through the cookie program to basically support other girls with cancer. And she actually sold, I think it was over 70,000 packages of cookies because it went viral, and it was this very heartwarming sort of campaign.
Yeah, amazing.
But that's a great example of, right, even with our girls working towards projects that they want to do, so many of those projects are about helping other people, right? Here's a girl and who's going through a really challenging situation, facing cancer in her own life, and wants to pay it forward and make her project and her sale about helping others.
I've seen that actually with local friends that are in Girl Scouts here that similarly went through a battle with cancer. And I don't remember if she tied it to cookie sales specifically, but like community engagement. That's the other thing I really love about the mission is you're integrated with other nonprofit organizations or community benefit organizations that work together to better our community. Like one that sticks out to me, and tell me if you recall, I think her name was Grace. I think
with
she did the Heinz Hospice Healing Garden, right?
Yeah. Yep. Amazing. And that's a beautiful example of a Gold Award project where, here's a young woman who identified this incredible and important need in her community, did fundraising, put together a project plan, and has transformed this physical space, for folks that really are in need in our communities. And so I think that's just a beautiful example of the impact that Girl Scouts can have.
Totally. And cookies, let's remind ourselves how fun it is to sell cookies and be amidst cookie season amongst all of the obviously life skills that this is teaching the girls and team bonding and all those things. Like I know from my perspective, I have a lot of friends who are troop leaders. They enjoy it just as much as the girls do.
Yeah.
You know, they're out boothing on Saturday mornings and all the things. So tell us what's new about cookie season this year. It's a really fun year because not every year you launch a new cookie, right?
Yeah. So we have not had a new cookie since 2023.
Wow,
so
okay.
It's been a few years. And we're super excited about it. It's called Exploremores.
Exploremores.
We have
a
box here.
Yeah. I don't know if you can see that. We'll make sure we zoom and get some good footage of that. But love. Okay, so tell us about the cookie.
Yeah, so it is a Rocky Road sort of inspired cookie. And it was developed with our Cookie Steer Co. And we have a process where we do R&D and actually girls and Girl Scout CEOs and a number of people are involved in the development of these cookies. But we started this about 3.5 years ago in terms of that R&D process. And it's hard sometimes, right? Because we get to know, in advance, not super far in advance, but what's coming. And sometimes it's hard, right, to keep that under wraps because this cookie is amazing. I love it. It's one of my favorites.
Feeling good in your body is a journey, and you don't have to do it alone. Dr. Mark A. Chin, board certified plastic surgeon, and his team at Aspire MediSpa are helping patients take a personalized, medically guided approach to confidence and wellness. Their weight loss program is fully guided by medical professionals and features FDA-approved medications designed to fit your lifestyle. Once the weight starts coming off, they have M-Sculpt Neo, which helps takes things to the next level by burning fat and building lean muscle at the same time with little to no downtime required. Plus, for more stubborn areas, like under the chin, for example, Kybella is the only FDA-approved injectable that permanently destroys fat cells to help refine your profile. And most recently, Dr. Mark A. Chin was awarded Best Cosmetic and Plastic Surgeon at the CV Lux Awards. So kudos to you, Dr. Chin. So well deserved. And if you guys want to book your consultation at Aspire MediSpa, give them a call today. Okay, so Rocky Road ice cream inspired cookie filled with flavors of chocolate, marshmallow, and toasted almond cream. Wow.
Yeah.
Sounds fantastic.
It is tasty. It's very tasty.
So good. We're going to do later, not right this minute because we got a lot going on the table. But we're going to do a coffee and cookie pairing for you all, which I'm looking forward to that. And chocolate goes well with everything.
It does.
I feel. That's amazing. There is something to be said, though, too, about the classics. So I know you mentioned like all the thought and obviously development, years and years of development that goes into launching a new cookie, which is so impressive. From the packaging to the name, to the meaning of the name, to the flavor, all of it. But the classics are still like the peanut butter cookie or the Thin Mint or the shortbread. Like they're still top tier.
Yeah.
Like they're timeless, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Well,
there's something to be said about that too.
And one of the things that's really interesting is that, our cookies, even though they're only sold during a very short period of time, they have among the largest market share of any individual cookies out there. And so if you look at and compare us to like Oreo or other major, brands, our market share is actually comparable, but we only sell during that short period of time, which is really pretty incredible.
Stock up.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, right? I would think, I know we're all pleasantly guilty of that,
exactly.
Right?
Stick them in the freezer.
Literally the best. Yeah. Okay, so tell me about the cookie season as a whole. Obviously, you have troops boothing.
Yep.
Okay, you have the opportunity to do it online or in person or a combination of both, which is amazing. But there's also an opportunity that I really love about like paying it forward from a business perspective or a more corporate level perspective of a cookie buyout, essentially, where you can purchase cookies in bulk, essentially, to be able to gift them to people, whether it's clients, staff. I've actually seen a lot of realtors do this, which is really great. They buy them and gift them to their clients or new homeowners, which is really fun. So I don't think people know as many people know about that opportunity. So let's speak to that a little bit more.
Yeah. So we created, it's called our Cookie Donor Buyout Program. And we created it about probably 4 or 5 years ago. It started during the pandemic. So actually, I guess it was about 6 years ago at this point. And basically, it's an opportunity for troops to partner with local businesses or individuals to sort of get a double whammy, if you will. So the individual supports the troop, and they say, "Hey, I want to buy, 700 packages or 100 packages, whatever the quantity is," and we have different tiers. And then they can use those cookies to support various different things, whether it's a nonprofit that they want to support, and then they get a tax deduction. So that's very popular, where a business will say, "Hey, I want to support the girls. I also want to support maybe the Fresno Rescue Mission or CASA or Big Brothers Big Sisters." You name any number of organizations. Are so incredible.
Yeah.
And then they get a tax deduction, or they can choose to use them for their business. Like you said, maybe as a realtor, you want to give them to new home clients, or as a as a marketing person, maybe it's part of your your new client delivery or things like that. So we have those opportunities. You can get involved at any time during the cookie season. If you go to our website, click on cookies, and then click on the cookie donor buyout information. The other thing that we do is we really love to promote and give love to our cookie donor buyout partners. And so on social media, you'll see photos that we do with the girls, videos about their excitement.
So
it's so heartwarming,
it
right?
Really is.
To be able to see that impact.
It's a win-win all around. And to your
really
point,
is.
obviously they're a sought-after product amongst everything else. So it's fun to be able to gift people and sort of pay it forward with something that they love and they look forward to every year.
Yeah. And Girl Scout cookies are sort of an American tradition, right? They evoke a lot of strong emotions, very positive emotions, right? And it's something that I think we all have seen as we've grown up in America, and it's a tradition that we want to keep, really at the forefront. And part of that, I think, Ray, too, is it's a reminder about the investment that we have to continue to make as society. One of the stats that, I share a lot, and it's a sad statistic, but it's important to get out there. And that's that less than 2% of philanthropic dollars go to support girls and women. Like less than 2%. We as a country, we invest more in pets than we do in girls and women. And so this program provides girls with the financial resources to do all of these amazing things, right? And so I hope we get to a point in society one day where girls and women are getting way more than 2% right of philanthropic dollars. But until then, the cookie program is an opportunity for girls to be able to chart their own course and say, look, right, I'm worth it, and I want to have the investments that boys get in their lives and in their programs through our cookie program. And so it's an important way for our girls to have access to some of these opportunities that society hasn't stood up and funded, unfortunately.
I know, which is just such a bigger picture concept to think about. So when you see the girls boothing around town and you see there's so much work and time and strategy that goes into that, and then obviously with the benefit of funding the program as a whole and girls and women as a whole, so that's really special. What's one big, you've touched on many big takeaways, but what would you say, what do you want, if nothing else, you want our viewers, our listeners to know about Girl Scout cookie season this year?
I would say that every dollar that you invest stays local. And those are creating life-changing opportunities for girls. And so if there's one thing I could get people to maybe sort of shift their thinking around, is don't think of it as just buying cookies, right? Think about it as investing in the future of the next generation of female leaders, because that's really what it is, right? It is investing in a girl today to say, you know what, you can be the next president of the United States. You can be the next CEO of Xerox. You can be the next CEO of HP, right? And I think that's the mindset that we want our community to really embrace, because it's about paying it forward. Yes, you're getting a sweet treat. Yes, we all love our Girl Scout cookies, but it's about investing in that next generation of female leaders.
I love that so much. And I've been so impressed by these girls. Like, they're doing things that adults can't even do.
Yeah.
They're Russell,
amazing.
You're a pro when it comes to these sort of media opportunities, and you speak from the heart and you're so comfortable, and seems like it comes natural to you. Okay. These girls are getting up there with the cameras and the lights, and they're so well spoken and they're presenting themselves so professionally, and that's part of maybe some of their marketing opportunity for cookie season, right?
Exactly.
And it's just like, wow, these are good. How could you not be a leader?
Yeah.
You're going to lead something,
Yeah.
that's for sure, whatever you decide, you
Yeah.
know.
Yep.
So it's really fun, even for obviously the adults and the volunteers and those that admire Girl Scouts and want to support Girl Scouts, to see the growth that they experience through
Yeah.
even just like this short window of cookie season, but of course, like all year round.
Yeah. And I think if you were to talk to our volunteers, that's probably one of the biggest things that they would tell you is, you know, the incredible opportunity to see girls grow is such an honor, right? And it's such a special thing to be a part of. And they could give you even more examples of that growth than I could, seeing that, you know, in so many aspects of these girls' lives. And I think that's for me the most special part about what we do at Girl Scouts, is seeing that growth.
So sweet. So for those that want to stay connected, you've touched on the website. I'm going to make you touch on it again. So we make sure we drive people there, and social media. So if you don't mind reiterating where listeners and viewers can continue to engage with Girl Scouts online.
Yeah. So if you go to our website, it's Girl Scouts CCS. That stands for Central California South.org. All of the information that you would need to get involved, to become a troop leader, to get your daughter signed up, you know, any of that, it's all on our website. We have the various different social channels. It's at GSCCS. And then if you want to give me a follow, I'm at GSCCS CEO, and I share stories from our experiences with our girls, you know, photos and videos about what we're doing. And I'd love to connect with you on social media as well. And then we are also on LinkedIn and all of the other platforms too.
Great. Russell, this was so lovely. Thank you. And thank you for the cookies. I'm excited to try. And I try for the most part to be gluten-free, but when it comes to Girl Scout cookie season, I definitely cheat. But you do have a gluten-free cookie too.
We do, yes.
So that's great.
It's a gluten-free chocolate chip cookie, and actually, it's really good.
It's really good.
I mean,
literally,
I'm not gluten-free myself, but I love it.
Oh, it's so good.
It's amazing.
And to be honest, like for those that are like, ew, gluten-free or whatever, you can't even tell.
I can't
like
tell
you wouldn't even know.
Exactly.
They're delicious. So you guys always do such a great job.
Yeah.
Coffee, cheers to you.
Cheers.
To cookie season, to all things Girl Scouts. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Ray.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us on Coffee Monday today. Feel free to rate and review this episode, and we're always open to receiving your guest suggestions by submitting them on our website, coffeemondaypodcast.com, or our Instagram at Coffee Monday Podcast. And don't forget, you can now stream full episodes of Coffee Monday anytime on the brand new KC24 and CBS 47 streaming app, now available on Amazon Fire, Roku, and Apple TV.